Alright, so today I'm going to be looking at the second string quartet by Alfred Schnittke, Russian composer. Um, I have a bit of a sore throat today, so I'll try to keep it short and sweet. This piece was written in. This piece was written in 1980, 3 years before his third string quartet, and it's dedicated to filmmaker Larissa Shepitko, who died in 1979. She worked with Schnittke on a film called The Ascent in 1977, and it appears that Larissa died quite young, at the age of 41, in a car accident. So I don't know if her death is going to be a narrative element of the piece, or if this piece is going to be somehow related to Schnittke's soundtrack he made with her. But yeah, I never noticed that dedication before, so something to consider. The second string quartet is about 25 minutes long, and it's in four contrasting movements. The first movement is like a little introduction. It's about 3 minutes long, and from what I could remember, the second movement is like a rondo with a really aggressive ritornello theme, and then I think movements 3 and 4 are both quiet and slow. Well, not necessarily quiet, but they're both slow movements. And yeah, this is one of my favorite string quartets, so I might be a little bit biased in my thoughts on it. But I also haven't listened to it in, I want to say, like 2 or 3 years. Oh, also, I'm going to be listening to the recording by the Kronos Quartet. They've recorded the complete string quartets, and this is a release from 1998, which is it might have been like the same year that Schnittke died, or very close to when he died. Yeah, let's jump into it. Alright, yeah. So, this is still pretty great piece. It's really hard not to like. The start of the second movement just kind of hits you full force, and with those arpeggiando figures, like that ritornello theme is like one of the most violent things I think I've ever heard a string quartet do, and it is, you know, it's a really fast second movement and lots of different ideas. Um, it's an interesting overall form because while the third and fourth movements are very different, they both have this like plodding processional kind of thing with this lilting melody that doesn't quite have a meter. It just has this sort of pulse. And as for Schnittke's idea of polystylism, you can definitely hear the influence of film music in this, and the sort of cinematic contrast of like one, you could say, shot to the next. And then there is this three chord idea that is a literal like dun dun dun. It's much slower, but it comes back 3 times, and so there's like little sonic cues that might sound a little bit cliche, like a film cue, but it's really hard to pin down what is exactly like what the other influences are exactly. What is exactly classical about this? What is modernist about this? Like it's definitely dissonant for long periods of time, but Like it's sometimes very saturated with the chromatic scale and clustery, but that's hardly a style. So I think this is a good example of what Schnittke's music sounds like and how sort of complicated the term polystylism can get. Because this is clearly a very like personal um, piece that he put together here. If you're interested, the film that Schnittke worked on with Larissa is fully uploaded to YouTube on the Moss Film YouTube channel. I'm probably gonna watch it today, and if I hear anything that is a direct parallel to this quartet, I might record a little update. But yeah, this quartet is metal as hell. I think it's one of the heaviest things, and it's one of the funnest pieces. I'd love to hear it live, and I do not know why only a handful of quartets have performed it. I think it's way more accessible than a Mozart or Beethoven quartet, and I think more people need to know about it. Anyone who watches film or consumes media will be entertained by this. It's just, you know, it's just a good listen. So, in terms of like style, I would compare this a lot to Schnittke's Concerto Grosso Number 1, which people often use as his sort of quintessential piece. The Concerto Grosso does have maybe more nods to specific popular genres, but I think this works just as well to showcase his writing, and he does a lot of like dissonant counterpoint where all the rules are broken, often where voices are imitating at a unison or octave, and in close imitation. And in his large ensemble works, it creates these huge textures, but he does the same thing in this with just four voices, and it's just as interesting. So, yeah, that's his second string quartet. If you're interested in his quartets, this album has all of them. There's even a few smaller pieces that I'd never heard of before. So, yeah, that's it for our first Russian composer.